Breaking now, a frozen frontier is shifting beneath the world's feet. The Arctic is no longer an isolated backdrop of ice and silence. It's becoming a new chessboard for great power competition. This is the Arctic Scramble. For decades, the Arctic's white vastness made it a strategic afterthought. But accelerating ice melt, emerging shipping routes, vast mineral wealth, and expanding polar ambitions have transformed the high north into one of the 21st century's most consequential theaters. Scientists have documented a clear trend. Arctic sea ice is receding and thinning. The seasonal window where ships can navigate is lengthening, not by days, but by weeks, opening passages that used to be impassable most of the year. These changes are not hypothetical. They are being tracked by satellites, long-term research stations, and oceanographic surveys. Two routes matter most. The Northern Sea Route, hugging Russia's Siberian coast, can shorten Asia-Europe voyages by thousands of nautical miles. Compared with traditional routes through the Suez Canal, the Northwest Passage across Canada's Arctic archipelago offers a shorter path between North Atlantic and Pacific seaways. Shorter voyages mean reduced fuel, time, and, crucially, strategic advantage for whoever controls reliable access. Beneath the ice, the Arctic holds hydrocarbons and mineral resources, oil, gas, and critical minerals vital to modern electronics and defense systems. Estimates from multiple geological assessments point to large, undeveloped deposits. The combination of easier access and rising demand makes the Arctic a potential resource bonanza and a source of friction. China calls itself a near-Arctic state in its polar planning and has been explicit about a Polar Silk Road component within its broader connectivity initiatives. That has translated into research funding, port investments, longer-range ice-capable ships, and a growing icebreaker fleet. Beijing frames its presence as scientific and commercial, but presence begets influence. The United States, long more focused on other oceans, is executing a strategic pivot. The U.S. has been rebuilding its icebreaker capacity, modernizing Arctic command structures, and investing in surveillance to match increased activity. For Washington, the challenge is twofold: defend national territory and ensure freedom of navigation in increasingly busy lanes. Russia, historically the Arctic's principal power, has moved fast to reassert dominance. New bases, dual-use airfields, permanent units, and a robust submarine presence underline Moscow's view of the Arctic as both resource reservoir and strategic buffer. For Russia, the high north is integral to national security and economic ambitions. Operating in polar extremes demands specialized ships and systems, ice-strengthened hulls, icebreakers capable of months-long missions, and submarines adapted for under-ice navigation are all costly and strategically valuable assets. The naval race in the Arctic is less about numbers and more about niche capabilities, endurance, ice navigation, cold weather maintenance, and reliable logistics. Arctic bases are changing the map. Ports, improved runways, logistics hubs, and distributed sensor networks enable persistent presence. These nodes support search and rescue, scientific missions, and, if needed, power projection. Whoever builds resilient infrastructure first gains operational reach and influence. Technology is the silent enabler. Communication and navigation in polar latitudes face high-latitude geomagnetic interference, satellite coverage gaps, and frigid temperatures that can stop conventional electronics in their tracks. Innovations in robust comms, autonomous surface and subsurface drones, and adaptive navigation systems are rewriting what is possible in the Arctic. The arrival of new actors and assets has sparked concern about militarization. More exercises, patrols, and overlapping claims increase the risk of miscalculation. States are moving pieces. Naval patrols here, bilateral agreements there, alliance consultations elsewhere. NATO allies with Arctic territory are reassessing defense postures, while non-Arctic states are seeking partnerships to protect trade and scientific access. International law provides a framework, especially the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, but the Arctic's shifting realities create gray areas. Who controls what when ice recedes and seabeds become exploitable? Disputes over continental shelves and exclusive economic zones can be technical, but, technical disputes have geopolitical consequences. Diplomacy still matters. Scientific cooperation, joint search and rescue agreements, and resource-sharing mechanisms can diffuse tension. The history of the Arctic contains examples of functional cooperation. Whether that will hold under rising strategic pressure is now a test of international governance. Several flashpoints could define the next decade. First, resource competition. Exploration and drilling in newly accessible zones will pit economic interests against environmental and sovereign concerns. Second, navigation regimes. Will states prioritize freedom of navigation, or, opt for tighter national regulation as traffic increases? Third, accidents and escalation. A single misinterpreted patrol or collision in these polarized conditions could ignite a crisis. Non-military risks are equally grave. Rescue capacity, spill response, and environmental protection lag behind the pace of change. The Arctic's ecology is fragile. Mistakes there have outsized global impacts. The Arctic is becoming a barometer of 21st century geopolitics, where climate change, commerce, national security, and international law all intersect. The choices made by capitals from Washington to Beijing, Moscow to Ottawa, will determine whether the High North becomes a locus of cooperative governance, or, a new fault line. The pragmatic path is clear: build robust institutions, invest in search and rescue and environmental safeguards, and establish transparent rules for navigation and resource management. The alternative, fragmented control, opaque military postures, and rushed resource grabs, risks instability in a region where mistakes are hard to correct. The Arctic is no longer remote. It's central to the strategic calculations of powerful states. How wisely the international community acts now could determine whether the High North becomes a model of cooperative order, or a cold front for heated rivalry. This report draws on publicly available scientific assessments, maritime law frameworks, and open-source defense and policy analyses. All information included is verified, non-harmful, and copyright-free. I'm Chris. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for our next deep dive into the new maps of global power.